guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am so excited that you decided to join us. And today I'm actually going to be showing you how to do a complete water change for your betta fish. So a couple things that you're going to need is actually a 2.5 gallon fish tank or larger. You'll need a cover for the fish tank. You'll also need a light, and then you'll need some den for him to hide in. I actually use this little ship. He loves it. I switch back and forth with his decorations. And it gives him a place in the back to hide, because betta fish like to have something to protect themselves. Also, you will need a net. You will need some plants. You should actually use blue and greens because it gives them more of a natural environment. For my personal taste, I used orange and purple. That doesn't necessarily make the best environment for him. Before I knew all of that, that's what I had put him in. So he is used to it. He doesn't seem stressed out or lethargic, so I continue to use these. And then you'll also need a substrate, and that is what goes on the bottom of the tank. And you can use gravel. I happen to use these marbles, these aquarium marbles that I put at the end. You can change colors. Sometimes I actually use these blue marbles as well. Depends on really your own personal taste. You will also need a betta fish. So here's the thing, I want to discuss this in a second. This is actually what I call just his holding tank. So when I clean his tank, he does get put in this. He does not live in this. And we're going to talk about this and why he shouldn't live in there in a second. You'll also need, if you're going to use tap water, it's completely fine. You're going to want to use something, I'm going to try to get this close to the camera, it's called Aquasafe. And what you do is, it has directions on the back, but you put this in the tap water, so that way it cleans and conditions the water for your betta fish, and it makes it a clean environment for him. What I have already pre-done to this video is I have pre-treated the water. It's also sat here so it gets room temperature. And one thing that it's really important that you guys understand is that betta fish are a tropical fish. So you want to keep the water temperature about 74 degrees to about 85 degrees. Now, I happen to live in a tropical environment, so I do not have a heater in his tank. If you happen to live in New England or wherever it's not tropical, you're going to want to put a heater in there. And just make sure that the thermostat is set to 74 degrees so that way his temperature is always set. And as we had mentioned earlier, another thing that's important is an actual filter in the tank. I have his here, I just cleaned it out. And that will create a little flow in the water for him. So now I'm going to just set up the bottom of the tank, and we will go from there. So one thing that's very important is so the reason why I actually have him in this tank is I had to clean out the whole entire tank. He was my work fish. I did bring him home, and when I had surgery on my jaw, obviously there were people feeding him, but they didn't clean the tank, so I had to clean out the entire tank. You never want to use dish soap. Dish soap is actually very toxic to the fish, so you just want to wash it out with some warm water and a cloth or a sponge or whatever works for you guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the bottom layer of the tank on. So before I put this in there, actually, so this tank is 2.5 gallon tank. I got it from PetSmart. It was actually normally $50. I had a coupon online from PetSmart, and then if I purchased it online, I got another 10% off. So I got this entire tank set up for about $33. I also did want to show you, which really is one of the reasons why I brought him home from the store. It felt so bad. So November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. So he's about 8 months old. He came in this container. So imagine living your whole life until somebody puts you in a nice tank. into this entire container. Now, the one good thing is the store does tell you what, if it's male or female, what kind of betta it is. He's actually a twin tail half moon male betta, and I brought him home. Actually, he looked not so good, and I don't know why. I felt really bad, and I wanted to see if I could get him healthy again. He was kind of white, and as you'll see, he's actually a blue betta fish. Did get him back to health. Now he is 8 months going strong. The betta fish do live about 3 to 5 years, so if you are not putting them in the right environment and they are not making it, that means that it's really something that you're doing wrong with the tank. But we have him back to health, and we're gonna keep it that way, hopefully. So, all right. So I actually these were dishwasher safe. Again, I do not use soap. I just threw it through the dishwasher so it had cleaned all the algae off of it, or algae, like I'm sneezing. Seriously? I promise you, I went to college. So it cleans all the algae off of it. So this is already pre-cleaned, so I'm gonna put that in here. So these are clear. Again, you want to kind of make them like, they suggest that you have this blue or green to make them in their natural environment. Like I said, I did not personally do that, so hopefully he seems okay. These are my personal decorative choices. And then super easy, you just put, after I've cleaned this all up, also ran this through the dishwasher. I don't know if you're supposed to, did not say dishwasher safe, but somebody actually gave me the idea to do that, and it seems okay. So like I said, no soap, just the water cleansing it. So put this at the bottom of the tank. Oh my god, it's so loud. Alright. Now, these plants, like I said, are supposed to be like green and blue. They say that orange is not good. I did not know that when I first put his tank together. But he seems to be doing okay, so I'm going to keep these. These are not real. They are plastic. They do better with live plants, but I am realistic about, you know, my travel time and how I can't keep a plant alive in my house, never mind in a fish tank. So to play it safe for me, I actually just put this fake ones in the tank. And very easy. Okay, so here is the part that I probably am doing it incorrectly, but I'm just going to show you how I'm doing now. He is a jumper, so every time I put, obviously he doesn't like the net, so in this bowl right here is part of his old tank water and fresh tank water, and I've set him in this for about 1 hour, so that way when I pour in his pre-treated fresh water, he won't be shocked. Now, you're supposed to pour this in there and then put him in a net and slowly transfer him in there, but for me and for him, he seems to do better when I do it this way. So I just want to give you guys the disclaimer that this isn't exactly the 100% correct way to do it. This just works for he and I. Now, I want to take a side note for a second. This, like I said, is what is called his holding tank. Now, I will tell you, when I first got him in this container, and before I was a little bit more educated on what betta fish need to live in. He was in a smaller bowl, and then once I found that out, I immediately got the conditions remedied and got him a bigger tank, as well as better conditions for him to live in. I really did feel terrible that I kept him in a bowl, and I'll actually show you up top here is the bowl I originally put him in for about 2 weeks before I got him this tank. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I was a new betta fish owner, and I want everybody to know that we all go through this together. It is a learning process, so if you didn't do something the proper way at the beginning, it's okay. Fact is that you can fix it, and we will go from there. The whole point of this channel is just to be educational, especially for first-time pet owners, and for me it was my second time owning a betta fish. The first time I owned one in college, so that was like a long time ago. So what I do is that you are supposed to, like I said, pour him in there first, but it works better for him if I actually pour in the pre-treated water first. So that's what I'm going to do. And again, he has been sitting in the pre-treated water as well as a combination of his old water for about 1 hour, so he is used to it. And just to give you a sidetrack, if you do have a smaller tank, when you do pour him in, what you would do is actually pour this pre-treated water in very slowly, so that way he gets used to it. Again, I'm kind of doing this backwards, but this is what works for us. He's a jumper. He seems less stressed out when I do it this way, so that's why I'm doing it. So I don't want to get everybody really angry that I'm not doing this properly. So I'm going to pour this all in here now. Somehow there is. So another thing, let's say that you don't have the pre-treated water. So there's some conflicting things that I have seen online. It does say that you can use purified water. However, I did speak to a betta fish breeder, and they actually told me to use spring water. Again, this is pre-treated water that I just use these containers for him. So the spring water actually has nutrients for him. So that I will leave up to your discretion. Okay, so you always want to, what is floating in here? It's like a price tag. Alright, so, so again, you always want to make sure that the temperature, as I mentioned, is 74 to 85 degrees. This is part of his pre-water treatment. Now, I don't want everyone to get all up in arms about this. Like I said, you're supposed to transfer him safely in the net. He seems to be not liking it when I do that, so I do just pour him in, and he seems to do okay. Now, let's say you have a new betta fish. They don't actually come in a bag. They come in this, as I mentioned. So just as a or I guess as just a tip, if you do get him, and let's say you're not doing a tank change, you're gonna want to float him in the water, so it'll be lower than this. But if he's in here, you're gonna float him in the water for about an hour to get him used to it. And when you set up the tank, you're gonna want to do a pre-cycled tank before you get him, so that way it builds up enough bacteria, that's healthy environment for him. Now, he is a jumper, so this lid, I'm happy, came with the tank, so it just goes on top like this. Now here is the lights. You can put them next to a window. He was, again, my my work fish, so I'm gonna find a nice place for him here. But at work, he was not next to a window, so I had it worked out with some people that would get there before me, would turn his light on. So he has his light on for about 8 to 10 hours a day at my house, about 10 hours. And what you do is this plug that comes with the light, if you can see it, it comes with the light. You just actually plug the back cord in, and this is the cord to the filter, and the filter is right on top there. And then you find a plug, and as you can see, the filter's going on, and then here is the light. So as you can see, he actually really I use this this ship. I used to have this big rock in there with some plants out of it, but he happens to really love this ship, so that's why I keep it in there for him. And you can actually tell if well, I can, at least with him. I can tell when he's a little bit depressed. When I had the other decorations in there, he was a little bit lethargic. He likes to hang out over here in the corner. But when I put him in this tank, he's very much more social. He is lively, and he likes to swim around a lot. Also, too, with male bettas all of the time, they cannot live with other fish. They are fighting fish, so they will fight them. With the female fish, most of the time they cannot live with other fish. I think from my research, I think they are able to live with neon tetrafish, but don't feel like, oh, my fish needs a tank mate. No, they actually need to be solitary. So I did want to also mention his food. Now, I had a thank you to PetSmart actually too, because they don't typically let you return open food. But originally I had gotten food, but I got him the pellets. They say that's the best food for them to eat, and literally for several days, I wanna say I tried for about 4 days. He just would not eat them at all. So I was getting stressed out that he wasn't eating. And so I did get him the Betta Buffet Flakes. That's not necessarily the best nutrition, but I do feed him this every day because he actually will eat it. Just give him a pinch in the morning and at night, and he seems to be okay. If you are traveling and you don't have someone to take care of your fish, they do have automatic feeders, as well as these pellets that you can drop in the tank, and it will release food every day or so. I actually don't like those pellets. I did try it once, and it just crashes the tank. It messes it up bad, and I'm not convinced that they even really eat off that. Well, at least he doesn't, so thankfully I had someone checking on him, and they were like, yeah, he's not eating it, so they fed him anyways. Since it was the first time I was using those, I wanted to make sure he was still eating. So again, that's really just how I set up my tank. Always make sure that your tank is in a safe location in your home. And I hope you guys learned something from this video today. So I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. And if you did like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram. I post videos every Wednesday. And again, Peacock and I can't wait to see you next week. And have a great week, guys.